discs. Alright, now let's try understanding the structure of spirochete organisms, especially the three morphologic features that we just mentioned a while ago. Now, if this is now a spirochete organism, if you are looking at my cursor, this particular part of the spirochete organism, that should be a long organism, okay? But we just cut this for presentation purposes, so you would understand what the structure of spirochete organisms is, especially its three morphologic features which set apart these group of organisms from the other organisms, apart or aside from their structure, which is long. All right. Now, if this is one part of the spirochete organism, the entire thing is covered by the outer membrane or outer sheath or the periplast. Now, we just actually cut this portion of the outer membrane or periplast or the outer sheath. That's to see what's inside the cell wall or the cell body of the spirochete organism, so that this particular portion of the illustration is completely peeled out of the outer membrane. It's completely removed with its outer membrane. That's to see how the entire structure is understood or seen in the spirochete cell wall or cell body. All right, listen here. Now, since the entire cell wall or cell body of a spirochete organism is covered by an outer membrane or outer sheath, which we also call as periplast, we cannot see the two other morphologic features of the spirochete organism if we do not remove its outer covering. So if we remove now the outer covering or the outer membrane of a spirochete organism, we see that the eggshell fibril, or this is actually the locomotor organelle I said in the previous slide. Locomotor organelle because the eggshell fibrils or the eggshell fibril class is actually the equivalent flagella to a normal organism. Now, the other terms of eggshell fibrils are eggshell filaments. Eggshell filaments. It can be termed as periplasmic flagella. It's termed as periplasmic flagella because it's being covered by periplast, the outer membrane or the outer sheath. Now, it's also otherwise known as endoflagella. Endo because it's found inside, it's covered by an outer membrane. It's termed flagella because it's the equivalent flagella to normal organisms responsible for the motility or the locomotion of this particular organism. Now, endoflagella or periplasmic flagella or periplasmic fibril, eggshell fibrils or eggshell filaments all pertain to the endoflagella of the spirochete organisms. Okay, listen. If we remove now the periplast or the outer covering of the spirochete organism, we see that the endoflagella is actually wrapping the entire body or wrapping the entire cell wall of the spirochete organism. When I say wrapping, it's intertwined in the entire body of the spirochete organism. Now, if we remove the outer covering or the outer membrane of a spirochete organism and we see the endoflagella is wrapped around its cell wall, intertwined around its cell wall, we can actually see that this structure of spirochete organism gives, or this arrangement of its endoflagella will give the spirochete organism a helically coiled morphology or coiled or curved morphology. Now, these endoflagella or these eggshell fibrils are actually inserted in plate-like structures which is found towards the end portion of the spirochete cell wall or body. We call these plate-like structures where the endoflagella is inserted or attached. We call that insertion discs. Now, from the term insertion, it's the point of insertion of the endoflagella that wraps or extends throughout the body of a spirochete organism. But what you needed to know, class, is that these insertion discs are located near the end portion or the terminal portion of a spirochete cell wall or body. I hope I'm clear with that. Now, if we try to understand on an electron microscopic view of the structure of spirochete organism, I'll have to activate my cursor. This is now a spirochete organism, okay, with colors of its structure. The violet colored layer is the outer membrane or the outer sheath or the periplast. Okay, the yellow colored, what do you call this structure you see, which is intertwined or coiled in shape, is the cell wall of the organism or the body of the organism. And you can see there a very thin red, dark red structure, which is also intertwined to the coiled cell wall of the spirochete organism. That's the endoflagella or the eggshell fibril or the eggshell filament or the periplasmic flagella or the periplasmic fibril of the spirochete organism. It's really seen intertwining to the coiled, okay, to the coiled shape or to the coiled morphology of its cell wall. Now, in order for us to know where the endoflagella is attached or inserted, if we now give this portion, the terminal portion of its body, a magnification and using an electron microscope, we can see that one portion or one end of the endoflagella of the organism is really attached or inserted to plate-like structure so that it can have a tight attachment to the coiled body of the spirochete organism. That is why it's giving an intertwining or coiled wrapping structure or appearance to the cell wall or body of the spirochete organism. Now, because the endoflagella or the periplasmic flagella is intertwining or it's wrapping around the coiled body of the spirochete organism, that will give the spirochete organism a unique type of motility. We call that corkscrew-like winding motility. Again, because of the arrangement of the endoflagella in the cell wall, the coiled cell wall or the coiled body of the spirochete organism, that will give the spirochete organism a very unique type of motility we call corkscrew-like winding motility. How do you write the corkscrew-like winding motility in cello? It should be written this way: CORKSCRW dash LIKE, and then the second word winding, and then the third word motility. So the corkscrew-like is just a one word, and it's not separated by a space because the corkscrew and the like is separated by a hyphen or a dash. That's the specific unique motility or locomotion of spirochete organism because of its coiled shape and because the endoflagella is wrapping or intertwined in its coiled cell wall or body. Now, the spirochete